Hello and welcome to the Identity and Access Management Insights podcast by Integral Partners. We're a cybersecurity consulting firm that's focused solely on IAM. This is a clip from an in-depth conversation I had with Jason Ellis, who leads the advisory practice here at Integral Partners, about the value that his practice provides and some of the processes his team uses and the deliverables that come out of an advisory engagement.
Advisory really helps companies, I would say, do IAM right. And what I mean by that is identity and access management can be pretty confusing. There's a lot of pieces to it. There's a lot of overlap in the industry and with vendors. There's not a lot of experience out there of people that know IAM and have done it. They really need to, consider not only the operational but the technical needs. They need to consider how it supports and enables the business. They need to consider how it helps them respond to regulatory requirements. There's a lot of things that I am supposed to do that's a lot more than just provisioning a user to a system so that they can use it. There's a lot of other pieces to it. And most organizations struggle with that. It can be a complex undertaking because it's woven throughout their entire infrastructure and their organization. And that's what we help with. We help them get their arms around why IAM works the way it does, how it can work in their environment, and the way that they should approach it. And so doing things like putting wins early in the project to get further adoption and people seeing what cool stuff IAM platforms and solutions can do is just one of the ways that we set it up for success. And the experience to know what can be pulled forward and what shouldn't be also comes into play, where we say, let's pull this up because you can do it if you do it in this order or this way. And that way you show those wins and get the continued support that you'll need for quite a long time.
So Jason, can you talk a little bit about some of the processes that your team uses during an advisory engagement and some of the deliverables that might be produced at the end?
Yeah, for sure. So when we start most advisories, and we have a number of different kinds. I mean, there's certainly our most common is just an overall IAM advisory where we're looking at all the different areas of IAM. But we also do advisories that are specific to particular technology areas or even specific topics, right? Like we've done role-based access advisory before, where we've helped organizations stand up a role-based access program. But in general, they follow the same methodology that we've developed over the number of years we've been doing this, and that really starts with something that is one of the hardest obstacles to get past in the advisory project, and is also, in my opinion, why a lot of IAM projects fail. Because really, the right way to do IAM is to really understand, like soup to nuts, completely from beginning to end, how your IAM works today, what's working, what's not working, what they wish would work better, ways that they think the business as well as IT thinks that IAM can really help them even do better as a company. We understand that really to get all of that, you have to talk to a lot of people. And our methodology includes the list of or all the different groups in an organization that we like to talk to. And the pushback we often get is you don't need to talk to all of these people. Well, that's why a lot of IAM programs fail, is that we don't talk to all those people. And so we are sort of pretty intentional or intently going to stick with it until we get all the names, and then we'll start talking to everybody. And we work with them. And over the course of the project, they really start to see, oh, wow, this was really great that we talked to the disaster recovery team, because now I know that the roadmap and strategy they put together and what they'll recommend from an overall design standpoint will be in line with what the disaster recovery team wants. I hadn't even thought of that, right? So a lot of conversations like that across not only IT, but also the business, so that we can then take that and figure out, okay, what does that mean? From that perspective, across the board in IAM, how are you doing? And we have a methodology where we look at all of the different areas of IAM, and it's not just PAM, IGA, and access management. It's actually 12 different capabilities. And then within each tool, we have a separate methodology we've built out with over 100 capabilities that each of these tools should be able to do and provide. So we go through that, and we really understand what that is. We base a lot of that on our understanding of the IAM space. A lot of it's based on our experience, and a lot of it's also based upon a lot of industry analysis that we do. We probably spend around 30 or so % of our job just studying and keeping up on trends, attending webinars, demos, conferences, speaking at conferences, all of the above, because we know that we need to stay on the front edge of all of this, but also marry that with our experience and our understanding of the environment. So we take a look at all of that, and we pull that in, and we provide with all that industry analysis. This is your maturity in each of these areas. and these are the problems that it's causing. You're having these problems because this is where you are with each of these capabilities, right? And then once we understand that, we're all in agreement. We've identified sort of the as is and what that means from a maturity standpoint. Then we start talking about what it should be. And what it should be is, all of those things I've been talking about, giving access fast, governing it appropriately, managing privileged access, right? All of those things that they may not even be aware of all of them, but we bring them to the table and have a good conversation about them. And once we have an idea of that, then we can say, okay, based on that, in order to close these gaps that you have where you're just not performing that well, here are the gaps that we see that need to be closed. And here is the backup NIST controls to show why we're providing these recommendations. And we also have guidance for ISO companies as well. And really it's about tying together the plan that we're putting together with industry best practices overall. All of our advice is guided by industry best practices as well as security frameworks, compliance frameworks, et cetera. So we have that as part of our process to do that analysis so that it lines up with that. And then once we understand that, now you can say, okay, we understand where we're at, what that means, where we should go. Now let's build a plan to get there. And that could include, or does include many, many different facets, right? One of them is, how should we roll this out? What is the approach that you think we should take? What are the phases? How does it look? When do we do different work? Also, what vendor should we use? Can you recommend a vendor based on our technology and our needs that you think would fit the best? And also, what does it cost typically for that product? And what does it cost typically for professional services help? What should our team look like in the future when we have to operationalize this and run it? How many people should there be and what should their roles be? Right. So a lot of different topics make up the strategy. It's not just technical recommendations or flow charts about what to do. Those are certainly part of it, but it's a program, and a program has a lot of areas out that are not necessarily technology or IAM related that you have to consider. And so we take all of that in, work with you to then build out recommendations, a roadmap, strategy. That is all very collaborative. We don't ever have clients who are surprised by anything we say, because we've been talking with them the entire time to make sure that they're on board with how we're making decisions, and maybe even educating them as to why we're thinking the way we are. And then with that, we can start to socialize it and talk about it with all the folks that we had been talking to in those prior conversations, explain our outcomes, let them challenge us, we'll take the feedback if we need to update anything. But eventually we get up to leadership where we're able to then present to leadership. And the intent is to really show the value of IAM and why they should be behind the program and why they should support investing in it. And it's been very successful. By and large, the vast majority of advisory projects that we do lead to IAM work starting. So it's really about positioning the program, educating the right people, gathering all the right information and doing the analysis, and then reporting back to the people who make those decisions so that they make the best informed decision they can, knowing the stuff they need to know the importance of it to make that decision. So that's how we approach it. We really try to take in a ton of info and then distill it down to what needs to be done and the best way to go about it.
So if you'd like to have a quick conversation about an advisory engagement and how that might help your organization, or you have any other identity-related questions, please feel free to reach out using info@ipllc.co or use our website. Thanks, and take care.